have a problem with 10 things, and there only one is not there. Why is that? Why is that God with this only 9? What is he testing from? Or why?
Yeah.
And one more thing, if we sacrifice him from that balance,
Yeah.
balance,
Yeah. The question is of the 10 things that we want, we always have 7, 8 we have. It is always that 1 or 2 things that we don't have. This is a statement. Question is, why is it that God doesn't give all 10 on 10 on 10? Why is he testing us? Is he testing us by keeping that? Is he testing us by making sure that we don't get that 2? Why can't he straight away give 10 on 10 and make our life blissful? That is the first clarification. I'll come to the second clarification later. God has given us abundance and infinite. We don't have the eyes to see it. Because we don't have the eyes to see it, we always feel that we don't have enough. Again, I repeat, what is given to us is abundance. What is given to us is infinite. Mind doesn't see that. Not only mind doesn't see that, it will always focus on that one thing that it doesn't have. Why it always focus on that one thing that it doesn't have and ignores all the blessings? If you say, I'm living a blessed life, you can't complain after that. Again, I repeat, if you say, I'm having a blessed life, you cannot, there's no chance for complaining after that. Or, I'm having a blessed life, and then if you complain, how you will look in your own eyes? You're able to follow the question. Supposing if you say, I'm having abundance, I'm having, out of 10 things, I'm having 8 things. And still, if I'm complaining, how I will look in my own eyes? My complaining will have no justification at all. Now, for my complaint to be justifiable, what I should be able to do? I should exaggerate that one thing that I don't have, as though that one thing is what my life is. As though that one thing, if it's set right, my whole life will be all right. Because mind needs a justification to, mind always needs a justification to complain. You have to complain about something, it has to complain. You can complain only when you feel you don't have it. How can you complain and say when I am having it? You follow. Therefore, mind always has to complain. Why? Because in order to complain, it has to feel it doesn't have it. But the reality is what? The reality is everything that is given to us is in abundance. The Sufi tradition, a very famous story. Sufi tradition writes about, they talk about this. A boy was trying to hang himself to death. The Sufi saint passing by saw that boy and said, why are you doing this? He said, I don't have anything. It is not worth living. He said, okay, if I prove that something you have meaningful, will you stop? He said, yes. But you don't know, you do not know my life. Nothing in my life is good, worth living. So the Sufi saint took the boy to the king. Something the saint whispered in the eyes of the king, and came back and said, the king is ready to give you a fortune. The king is ready to give you a fortune. Are you okay? Are you okay with it? Yes. But he wants something in return. He wants something in return. Naturally, the boy said, yes. Whatever, as long as he's giving me a fortune, whatever he wants, I will give. Hmm? Rest of the story you complete. Rest of the story you can complete. You know what the king would have asked, no? Can you guess? It's a very famous story. Everybody knows this story. You complete the story by yourself. The king said, give me one eye of yours, I'll give you 10 lakhs. Give me both your eyes, I will give you 25 lakhs. Give you your heart, I will give you this much. The boy said, are you mad or what? The mind simply refuses to recognize the abundance. The mind simply refuses to recognize it. It will be so focused on that one thing that it doesn't, and it believes that that one thing will set right everything. If I get that one thing, everything will be set right. Yeah. Other delusion. This is the delusion of human being. Sufi Saint Purilana Ram Tirtha's 99 Club. Yeah, Ram Tirtha said 99 Club. Membership is free and open, he said. What is 99 Club? The human being has 99 things and one thing he doesn't have. And he believes if I have that one thing, it will be complete, 100. It's complete. He got that one. Immediately what happened? 99 doesn't become 100. 99 became 999. And then he was so justified what that one thing will make it to 1,000, and you will also feel like helping that man to get that 1,000. Immediately the 1,000 became 9,999. Why? Because of ignorance, we refuse to see the blessings. We refuse to see the blessings. If you refuse to see the blessings that you have, this is where Vedanta starts. This is common sense. From here, proper knowledge starts. If you refuse to see the blessings that you have, and you are so focused and complaining and crying about that one thing that you don't have, that is called ingratitude. And that ingratitude, there will be for that ingratitude nature of yours, for that ingratitude attitude of yours, there will be a consequence. What is the consequence? What is the consequence? More and more and more you will feel more and more and more you will start feeling beggarly. You will start feeling that, you will start experiencing, you will start feeling a beggarly thing. Why? Because that's what you are constantly doing. Exactly opposite of it is what? To say Exactly opposite of it is to say thank you. The more number of thank you say, more you are recognizing your abundance. Less number of thank you, there is nothing worth to say thanks. Now what do we do? There is nothing worth saying thank you, sir. And if you are in my shoes, you will know. It's easy to talk, sir. Only you will not talk all this if you are in my shoes. I will say I will never ever want to be in your shoes. Why will I want to be? You follow? So why? The natural tendency of the mind is to focus on the thing that it doesn't. Why? Then it can complain. Are you okay till now? Why it wants to cry and complain? Go deeper, and I'm going deeper and deeper. Why it wants to cry? Why it wants to complain? Why? Because we know only one way of seeking attention. What is the only way of seeking attention? Crying. That's what, yeah. Crying is the only way by which we know how to seek attention. Remember the poem in Vedanta treatise? Weep, you will weep alone, because everybody has their own. See, everybody has their own miseries. Nobody has time for anybody else's misery. Why? The mind wants attention. Have you ever observed? I've given this example any number of times. When the child comes and says, I want to play, the father is busy. The father says, I have no time to play with the child. It goes to the mother. Mother also says, I'm busy. So when the child is happy, nobody pays attention. The moment the child becomes sick, what happens? The moment the child got one cold, one cough, immediately what happens? The entire attention of the household is on the child. From this, the child learned a lesson. What? What is the lesson? Whenever you want attention, start playing sick. Start playing. The sickly person you take to the doctor, head to toe, they will scan and say everything is fine. But that person says nothing is fine. Machine is wrong. The machine is wrong. Everything is fine. In nothing is fine. The machine is wrong. You follow? Why? Why it constantly complains? Because mind is that which is constantly seeking attention. The only time the mind knows when attention is given is when it plays sick, when it begs. People don't understand there is a royal way. What is the royal way? Recognizing the abundance. The royal way of living life is by recognizing the abundance. Isavasya Upanishad said it so beautifully. Purnam. Purnam. Purnam means it's full. It's complete, whole. See, full, complete, whole is not the, it doesn't really communicate it. That's why I use the word. The word abundance, you take the Sanskrit dictionary, Purnam will never be translated as abundance. Purnam will be translated as full, whole, complete. It doesn't actually convey what the Upanishad wants to convey. Use the word abundance, you get something very different. What is it? It is abundance. Yes, sir. Sorrow and misery is in abundance, not joy and happiness. No. Joy and sorrow, joy and bliss is in abundance. Sorrow is imaginary. Sorrow and pain is imaginary by, you follow? So why do people complain? Because the only way that they can get attention is by that. Lastly, at the deepest core, the human being so desire driven, and the nature of desire is what? Always insatiable at the core. Go step by step by step. At the core, why the human being always is complaining? Because a human being lives a desire-ridden life. And what is desire-ridden life means? An insatiable life. Insatiable life means how much ever is there, it's not enough. When is enough? Enough. There's no such thing called enough at all. Therefore, what happens? The mind always focuses on that one thing that it doesn't have. God has given you abundance. Human mind has created scarcity. Since human mind has created scarcity, you have to change your mind, because the reality is it is in abundance. Like I always give this example, no? The boy or the girl comes and says, "Nobody loves me, sir." Is it true? Nobody loves me. Is it true that nobody loves you? It's not true. You want that one particular person. That one particular person is not loving. Therefore, you will come and say what? Supposing if you say, "Oh, that one person is not loving me," you cannot accept that answer. So what will you say? Nobody, nobody loves me. Is it true that nobody loves you? No, it's not true, isn't it? Because love is always available in abundance. You fall on the road, there are 50 people ready to come and help. No, it's not that you are left bleeding to death. If somebody falls on the road, what happens? There are 50 people. No, what is it? Is that not love? Sir, it's not like that, sir. You don't understand. You don't understand. What I am asking is something different. You follow? So, what is given to us is abundance. What is given to us is infinite. The mind that is used to competition, the mind that is used to racing, the mind that is used to fighting will always see life as limited. Because the mind is used to competition, racing, fighting. Why this competition, racing, fighting, and all that comes? Because you see life as limited resources. When you see life as limited resources, you will obviously want to fight. You will obviously want to run over somebody, because it's a competition, no? If your notion about life is full of competition, where can you have the notion, where can you have the knowledge of after you? In a competitive world, can you say after you? If you see life as competition, can you say after you? If you have to say after you, what vision you should have about life? There is abundance. There is abundance. Last example. A barber shop in a town will not be worried if a vegetable vendor comes in. A barber will not worry if a vegetable vendor comes in. Anybody sets the shop up, he will look like the most selfless person on this planet. The moment another barber comes in, that's where you see the reality. Supposing if the barber can say, "Welcome, there are enough heads, we both can coexist," that person has recognized abundance. Are you able to follow? But we cannot recognize abundance because we see life as one of we We have started looking life as a race, as a competition. Everything we have to fight. We have to fight for everything, sir. If you don't fight, you will be treated as a doormat, isn't it? People say if you don't fight, you will be treated as a doormat. Therefore, after you learn, you should say in the class only. After the class, before the class, yeah, run over you, isn't it? Before the class and after the class, run over you. In the class, after doesn't work. Are you able to follow? Therefore, the mind doesn't recognize the abundance, always sees life as limited resources, and when it sees life as limited resources, it will be it will it will always focus on that one thing. The very nature of ignorance, the very nature of desire is that desire is like the distance between you and the horizon. Desire is the distance between you and the horizon. It will always 2 steps you take. What happens to the horizon? It recedes by 2 steps. It means the distance between you and that will always remain the same. It will always remain the same. You follow? So why God is not giving 10 on 10? God is saying, I have given you infinite. God is saying, I have given you abundance. I have given you infinite. If you are not seeing it, what can I do? And nobody is able to see it. You follow? Therefore, the answer. God has given abundance to us. God is so abundant. God is infinite. From infinite, what will come? Infinite only will come. God is abundant. God is infinite. So from infinite, what will come? Only the human mind doesn't recognize it. Human mind doesn't notice it. So the human mind always sees that which is not. The human mind always sees that which doesn't have. And is so convinced that if I get that, I'll be happy. Vajagovindam. Balastavat, Kridasaktah, Tarunastavat, Tarunisaktaha, Vruddhastavat, Intasaktaha, Arame Brahmani, Kopinasaktaha. Meaning, the child is so caught up in the toys that one toy not there is very. That one toy not there is what makes the child miserable. You can't tell the child you have so many toys, no. Isn't it? And for that one toy, what all the child will do? For that one toy, what drama the child will do, isn't it? To roll on the floor, make the life of everybody miserable till it gets what it wants. As soon as it gets what it wants, what happens? Shifted. Immediately, as soon as it gets what it wants, it immediately shifts. You follow? This is the reason. So, poor God. He gave us abundance and infinite, but we don't see it. No, sir, first give me what I want, then I will see. Isn't it? We always say, no, all that I'm ready to do, but first give me, calm me down first. What does the human mind says? First calm me down, and then I will listen to, and how to calm you down? Give me that. Okay, after calming you down, what will you do? You don't calm down at all, because that's the actual problem. You don't calm down at all. You, by the time you get it, you have made enough preparations and plans for the next 10. Even before you get that one, enough plans and preparations are made for the Next 10. So when will you ever be calmed down? You cannot. And the only way calming down is sleep. That is the next question. The only way that we calm down is by sleeping. That also God takes away sometimes. That sleep also God takes away sometimes. And then will it be compensated later? Sleep means peace of mind. It's peace. Not sleep is not the actual lying down and sleep. You can go to sleep very agitated, sleep very agitated, and wake up very agitated. No, isn't it? You can be very depressed going into sleep, sleep in the depression, and wake up. So it is not. So sleep is not the actual sleep. What sleep means is the mental, the the peace of mind. You agree, you don't agree, you accept, you don't accept. There is only one way to be peaceful. And that one and only way to be peaceful is unselfishness. There is no other way to peace. And everybody will try all the methods. And finally, by the time where nothing can be done, they will come to correct, sir. Yeah. My grandmother will say like that. Yeah. சாவர நேரத்துல சங்கரா சங்கரா சொல்லி what is the use? The last moment understanding it is of literally no use. You follow? Abundance. Recognize life as abundance. Selfishness will not allow you to recognize abundance. Selfishness means everything should happen to you in the way that you want and whenever you want. Again, I repeat, what is selfishness? Selfishness means everything should happen in the way that you want and whenever. Half an hour before, half an hour later is not acceptable, isn't it? When I want to come, when I don't want, go. Oh no, you should not go anywhere. Just you have to keep. You have to keep at the doors. You have to keep waiting at the door only. Because next time when I say come, immediately. No. After a while, I'll say. In English, they call it as selfishness. In English, they call it as puppy's love, isn't it? In English, it's called puppy's love. You follow? The reason for a human being losing the peace is selfishness. Whether we like it or not, selfishness is the only reason. You follow? And sure. If there is no other questions, means I should not summarize what we discussed till now, is it? Before the class, I keep getting messages. What I should talk today, what I should take today, what I should not, what I should talk, what I should not talk, what I should do, what I should. When I see that message, I'll get so irritated that I will not do that text only. The human problem is the lack of application of intellect. That's what we are studying. Human problem is lack of application of intellect. Lack of application of intellect means a herd instinct. The herd instinct is no sense of individual conviction about anything. That's called herd instinct. Again, herd instinct means no individual conviction about anything. Getting carried away, if something has to be told to you 5-6 times and you will start actually believing it. That is called herd instinct. Isn't it? Social media works on what? Pushing the narrative. Isn't it? So many stories. Pushing the narrative. You repeat it 10 times, you see it, you actually start believing it, that you don't even feel the need to question, cross check. This way of living is called herd instinct. This way of living is called herd instinct. This is the lack of application of human intellect. Application of intellect means breaking the conditionings, and you need courage to break the condition. From another angle, application of intellect means breaking the conditioning. And conditionings, we find it difficult to break, because in conditioning there is a security, there is a safety in that condition. Not only there is safety in that, safety and security, I look around, there are a lot of other people also in that. So when there is a lot of other people also in the same network, there is a then why unnecessarily waste time thinking and all, sir? It is already right only. So this is called herd instinct. So what is herd instinct? Herd instinct means refusing to break the conditionings and finding safety in the conditioning. What is the conditioning? Example of conditioning is what we have been discussing for 3 janmas, marriage. Example of conditioning, 3 janmas we have been discussing. 2-3 people called me and said, sir, this portion on this marriage general is so good. Why can't we do a separate course on that? Why can't we do a separate retreat on that? I said, on what? Marriage. I said, no, there's no marriage. Where is book on marriage? I'm asking that. Where is book on marriage? No, sir, you spoke. Then only I realized 5 classes I spoke on marriage and not even come to the text. So today we will just read through the book, and we will read through 3 chapters today. Because it is getting too marriage. So the lack of, so the application of herd instinct is very, marriage as an example is taken to explain herd instinct. See, 2 examples can be taken. One is education, another is marriage. One example that you can take to understand herd instinct is the education. Another example that you can take for understanding the herd instinct is marriage. Now we are discussing marriage. Bhimara Dashanti Kapram, what is there to discuss about marriage? Yeah. I get an invitation. Bhimara Dashanti na 90th birthday. Not actually 90th, it is 70th only. I'm just exaggerating it. Odane adukku or correction podadingo. I know. on that significance of marriage. When? அப்போ ஒரே significance marriage. என்னது? Both of you keep chanting Narayana. That's all. What else can be? What else can be done at that point? You follow? What is herd instinct? Herd instinct means doing something without any thinking behind it. Even if we do anything instinctively, also it will come under herd instinct only. That's why that's why in Vedanta, even the instinctive things like hunger and sleep and all, we want to ensure that we don't fall a victim to that also. Are you able to follow? Again, I repeat. See, herd instinct can happen even in instinctive things like hunger, sleep, etc. That's why in this culture, in the Vedic discipline, we want to manage. We don't want to be herd instinct on hunger. You say, okay, wait for 10 minutes. What will happen? Don't. Oh, yeah. Hungry. Wait. Oh, I'm hungry. My hand is shaking, leg is shaking, uh, hypo, hypoglycemia. You know what all the hypoglycemia will come, and you will get a headache, and then the whole day will go waste. Why? Because I can't wait 10 minutes. What is herd instinct? Instinct, even the instincts are so overpowering. What is thinking here? What is application of intellect means? Wait, let me be hungry for, I'm not going to starvation to death. It's not starvation to death. Just 10 minutes. So sleepy. Okay. One day, don't sleep. If you can break if you can bring in a discipline at the instinctive level itself, it means down the line will be very alert to the usage of intellect. That's the whole purpose. Not to make human beings suffer. Are you able to follow? If you can bring in at the instinctive level, if you can bring in certain disciplines, it means your alertness will be, you can be very alert right through. This much of alertness is required for what? Herd instinct means an unconscious way of living. Herd instinct means an unconscious way of living. Unconscious way of living means selfish and self-centered. That much of alertness is required for what? To ensure that when selfishness enters, you are alert enough to catch it. So what they did, everything they investigated, and they started, and they gave us certain principles. And what is the principle? Marriage. So marriage is taken as an example. And we discussed so many things about marriage. All the discussion about marriage is only one, it all will boil down to one word. What is that one word? That one word is called samskara. One word, samskara. Samskara means a method by which purification happens. Marriage is seen as a samskara. Because of herd instinct, it is seen very, because of herd instinct, it is seen very, very differently. What is the difference? Marriage means compatibility is needed, no sir? Vedantic thing is what? Marriage means that which will sustain in spite of no compatibility. Did you hear me rightly? Huh? Ravi, huh? Marriage is not surviving because of compatibility, because there is no such thing called compatibility. So marriage is that which will continue in spite of compatibility irukadன்றத marriage. So I've never heard this argument. Somebody asked me in my last trip, sir, supposing if marriage didn't happen at all, sir, Buddha, Mahavir, and all would have never come up, no? Able to follow? See, what that person is saying, marriage, marriage is a precondition to become, because marriage will give you so much of torture, and because of the torture of marriage, you will become enlightened. Because of marriage only, you will get enlightened. Why? Because so much of problem, and because of the problem only, you will run away from the. I said, yeah, from where you people get even these kind of questions too? But it's a correct question. No, you can't deny. You can't deny that also. What is the what is the herd instinct behind marriage? Without any application of what marriage is and why marriage is, the human mind simply gets into it because it is misunderstood as it is there for what all the wrong reasons. Vedas in one word say marriage means samskara. Samsara illa. Samskara. Supreme, there are 40 samskaras from birth to death. Birth to death, now from the time you enter the womb. In the Vedic thing, birth is not coming out of the mother's womb, is not the actual birth. The actual birth is when you are conceived in the womb itself, your birth have started. So from that time till the last day of your life, it's all process of purification. Why this purification? This purification is necessary so that you can follow dharma. Why do you have to follow dharma? Only by following dharma, there will be an inner maturity, chitta shuddhi, and that inner maturity, chitta shuddhi, is necessary for you to know who you are. For you to know who you are, you need a inner maturity, a chitta shuddhi. For the chitta shuddhi to come, so many preparatory practices has to be done. So marriage is seen as that process of purification, etc. And then we discuss so many stories about all that. The 6 reasons for marriage. The 6 reasons for marriage. Padingo, Anshu, please.
A typical example of the lack of intellectual application is the way people treat the institution of marriage. They plunge into relationships with hardly any thought, reason, or judgment backing them. Interestingly, there are 6 broad reasons for anyone to enter into marital relationship. The 6 reasons. 1. Progeny. All creatures except humans are compelled to act on the urge for progeny. The desire to procreate their own species is predominant in all beings. Only a human being possesses the intellect to free himself from such desire. With a lack of intellectual strength, people generally succumb to the desire for progeny. Possessiveness. With the mind overpowering the intellect, most humans entertain a sense of possessiveness. They tend to accumulate objects and beings and develop a feeling of possessiveness towards their possession. It manifests in relationship and solace in the
It manifests the expressions of me and mine.
The expression of me and mine. My home, my business, my name, my fame, etc. Possessiveness extends to a need for a partner in life. My wife, my husband. Few realize the dire consequences of developing the trait of possessiveness. If unattended, it leads to separation from the objects and beings of possession, causing suffering and sorrow. Nevertheless, possessiveness remains one of the reasons for courting marriage. 3. Companionship. The lack of self sufficiency in a human being manifests as his dependence on other beings. People have a general tendency to seek the company of other beings. Some seek the company of humans, others, confronted with problems associated with human companionship, find solace in the company of pets and even plants. Thus, the need for companionship is yet another reason for humans to seek life partners. Few possess the intellectual caliber to be free from the desire for companionship, who are self sufficient and do not require a partner in life. 4. Sex. The demand for sex in a human ranges from nothing to promiscuity. Its varying strength manifests in 4 ways. A. Impotent. This class of persons lack the urge for sex even when provoked. Such people do not need a partner for this reason. Passive. The sexual urge of this class is low. It does not manifest by itself unless provoked. Left to themselves, the passive do not need any form of sexual encounter unless they are driven to it through provocation. C. Active. The urge in the active manifests in a regular pattern. It could range from a daily demand for sex to once in several weeks. However, it manifests without needing any external stimulus. D. Promiscuous. This type of persons possess insatiable urge which manifests without any external inducement. They would require repeated sexual encounters with change of partners as well. Choosing a partner in such cases would create problems for oneself and partner. A study of the above 4 classes of persons would reveal that marriage is suitable for the active and a section of the passive categories, considering one's sexual requirement. 5th, protection. By choosing a partner, one would be protected from others making amorous advances. Thus, one is in a way settled in life. This makes marriage more of a convenience. There are, of course, other means of providing oneself protection, in which case marriage becomes redundant. 6. Security. A partner would serve as a security in times of need for help in any form. Though considered as one of the reasons, it cannot stand out for justifying marriage if the other 5 reasons are absent. Rare indeed are those free from all 6 reasons. Such persons alone can afford to remain single. The above analysis exposes that people are ignorant of these reasons, much less aware of the importance of the intellectual role in committing oneself to a life partnership. People just follow the herd.
A typical example of the lack of intellectual application is the way the institution of marriage is treated. How the marriage of institution is treated. There are a few broad reasons which makes people seek marriage. The first one is progeny. First reason is progeny. Progeny means something of my something of my own, so that through that I'm continuing. If my own is there, through that I'm continuing. Because of the desire and craving for progeny is so deep rooted, they say of all the shoka, putra shoka is the most, not the almost impossible for a person to get out. Why? The desire for the progeny is so strong. Desire to procreate their own species is predominant in nature. All species will do that. A human being can be aware of the desire of progeny, understand what the desire of progeny means, and then choose. Are you able to follow? In all the 6 reasons, what you should understand in all the 6 reasons is each and every reason is a particular desire. Six reasons means the 6 desires. The 6 desires for marriage, you can say. So each and everything is each and every reason that he is giving is talking about the desire. So the 6 desires that drive the human beings' need for marriage. So he's saying analyze the 6 desires, understand the 6 desires, and then choose to get, or you choose not to get. It's not about he's not saying get married, or he's not saying you should not get married. He's only saying there are 6 reasons. Within bracket, instead of reason, within bracket, what word you use? Desires you use. The 6 desires for marriage. The 6 desires, the broad 6 desires of a human being that needs the human being to get married. The first one is progeny. Progeny means something of my own. That my own continuing is me continuing in a way. Because through the other, I am still living. Through my child, I will continue to live. And if that child has their child, my continuity of living is guaranteed for at least another 100 years, 150 years. This is the desire for progeny. One of the important desires that human being has is progeny. When you will understand you have a desire for progeny, when you will understand that, you will understand the desire for progeny only in your 60s and 70s. Because at 20s and 30s, people say they are not getting married for having children, sir. They are not getting married to have children. When do you understand that? When do you understand that the desire for progeny is a very strong desire that drives a human being life, and marriage is a way of fulfilling that desire. But sir, to produce children, why do you have to get married? Because you can continue to produce children even without getting married. No. Even today, some of the cultures live life like that. Even today, some of the cultures live life like that, where There's no reason to have there's no reason to marry for the sake of a child. Nowadays, we don't understand this desire at all. In those days, they understood the desire very penetratively. Have you ever observed in most of the families, there will be a boy or a girl in the name of Pichai? Do you know that? In every family, in most of the families, there will be a boy or a girl in the name of Pichai. They're born and they die, they born and they die, they born and they die. They some child they want to be, at least one child they want to be alive. And what do? It's it's given by God. God கிட்ட பிச்சை கேட்டு வாங்கினதுனால அந்த குழந்தைக்கு, you know that? Nowadays I don't keep names like that. Yeah, nowadays if you keep name like that, you will be sued, isn't it? Without asking my permission, why you gave birth to many people are getting sued now. What do you do? Now when will you do? Correct? You know that, no, there are so many cases like that all over the world. Because children saying, how can you give birth? Because it is my fundamental right. What is my fundamental right? You should have taken my permission. For what? I always say, உன்னை பார்த்திருந்தா, if only God has given me a chance to have seen you. Mira. If only God has given me a chance to have seen the child in the beginning, will anybody give birth? Yeah, one look, why will even anybody? Why will you want to? Progeny is one important desire. All desires are meaningless. In that way, we are dismissing. But nevertheless, there is this desire that requires marriage. The second is possessiveness. Possessiveness means, correct. Very good. Possessiveness means, Narayanji straight away said, exclusivity. Wow, correct. Adam possessiveness. Exclusivity, dam possessiveness. Me and mine. Me and mine. Meaning, somebody should be available to me 24. ஏன்னா நான் எப்போ கூப்பிடுவேன்னு தெரியாது. When I will call, I myself don't know. So what the other must do now? Adam possessive. What the other must do now? Always be alert. Yeah. Hiranyakashipu, Prahlada getter, isn't it? Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlada, what did he ask? Where is your God? Prahlada said, he is everywhere. How much of tension and anxiety Vishnu would have gone through at that point in time? Because which pillar he will break? Hiranyakashipu himself doesn't know which pillar he will break. And God has to appear out of that pillar. Vishnu should have anticipated all the pillar and be ready. All the pillar. This is the absurdity of possessiveness. We want that kind of an alertness and readiness from another human being, always wanting to be readily available Whoever says I'm always available to you, we say we have a very good understanding, sir. What is a very good understanding? That person has told a lie to you and you believed in that lie. What is the lie? What is the lie? Hmm? What is the lie? I will be always, I'll be always be there for you. All that you have to do is what? Even Narayana won't give that promise, isn't it? But human being gives this promise. What is that? Just to think of me, I'll be there. Huh? How can you be there? Because you are already thinking about something. Where do you have time for the? Where do you have time for listening to the thinking of the others? So, marriage is seen as possessiveness is legitimized in marriage. If you remember, when we started discussing marriage, in the very first class that we started discussing marriage, I said marriage is a very institution that is bound to collapse. Why? Because we have legitimized possessiveness. In the name of marriage, possessiveness is made legitimate. Sir, that's why we get married, no, sir. You get married for what? Samskara. You don't get married to be. Since that vision itself is not there, what do people think as reason for marriage? Possessiveness. And legitimately, marriage today is a failure because marriage has started to legitimize possessiveness. Possessiveness, if unattended, possessiveness if unattended, develop has its own consequences. What is the consequences? Pain and separation is the consequences of possessiveness. Exclusivity. Very good. Always be available for me. How can anybody be always available for you? Because you don't know when you need the other. Obviously, sir, I don't know when I will need the other, but the other should anticipate. Hanga, it becomes more complicated. What is the further complication? The other must anticipate and be and be available. That's what marriage knows, sir. Anticipation. Anticipation requires unselfishness. Anticipation requires unselfishness. And unselfishness is never related to a single person. You can't be unselfishness to a person. You can be unselfish overall. Are you able to understand the difference? Again, I repeat. You can't be unselfish in relation to one person alone. Marriage says exclusivity na enna artham? Be unselfish, be sacrificial only in relation to me. Ana ide sacrificial nature and unselfishness should not be correct, no? Able to follow what is able to know what is this exclusivity? How deadly is this exclusivity? It will say be unselfish, be sacrificial. For whom? Only to me. Same person shows some sacrificial attitude and some unselfishness in relation to others. That is enough for marriage to collapse. Are you able to follow? Second reason is possessiveness. Companionship, sex, protection, security. 4 more reasons which we will take up in the next class. So there are 4 more reasons which we'll try to cover in the following session. For today, the 2 reasons. What is it? One is the progeny, mine, my child. What a satisfaction it gives, isn't it? My child. See, you go to the school, first few days in the school is very confusing for the parent because everybody wears the uniform from a distance. From a distance, everybody will look the same from a distance, isn't it? So the eyes are searching and scanning for whom? As soon as that comes anywhere near, you should see how the eyes, yeah, how the eyes brighten up, isn't it? It just opens up. Why? Because it's not that you are hating the other child. It's not that. As long as they don't come in interference with your child, that's all. The moment they come in interference with your child, what happens? Have you ever observed parents fight more than the actual children fight? Even children, they will fight and they will get over it. But the parents fight over the children fight is more obnoxious than why? Progeny. Second reason is possessiveness. You don't get married for progeny. You don't get married for possessiveness. You don't get married for companionship. You don't get married for sex. You don't get married for protection. You don't get married for security. Then why do you get married? Samskara. It's a necessary purification process that is required in my journey towards self-discovery. In the journey towards self-discovery, it is a very essential process. That is what the intellect will say. That is not said here, that we supply. He only saying these 6 are not the reasons. Then what is the reason? Samskara is the reason. What does samskara means? The moment you understand it as a purification process, certain things about marriage will not be bothered at all. What are the things about marriage? What all we give as the reason makes no sense at all. Yeah. We'll continue with the 4 more reasons in the next session.